Well, didn't expect that. I'm trying to play the opener. Not supposed to be sitting here like that. Morning, everyone. Anyway, here's the opener. Hello. You what? Grabbing the headline says, Stephen, I'm confused. I put Romano's channel on 10 minutes ago, and a few minutes in, with no intro, I popped up talking Darwin Núñez. Wondered if I'd hacked his channel at first. Did I? I'm not aware of that. Send us a link, I'll have a look. Yeah, there's a bit of a confusion going on here about the old title with Irrefutable. Ronaldo come up with a title, so blame him. He likes to get intellectual sometimes. Don't know if he means it, but he does. Has everyone had a good weekend? I was going to do a live last night, and you know what? I'll be honest with you, I just couldn't be arsed. I've had a bit of a lazy weekend. I haven't been at the gym. I haven't been doing any exercise. I was just catching up a little bit. Needed to be done, to be honest. But yeah, that's what I did this weekend. Didn't do too much, to be honest. Went and bought some camping stuff on Saturday. Gonna go away to Cornwall, I think, in a couple of weeks. That's what you're here for, innit? This is why you tune in for the news that talks about irrefutable bids for Frenkie de Jong, innit? Because you want to know, whereabouts are you going camping, Steve? Afternoon. Oh yeah, it is afternoon, isn't it? Sorry, it's just clicked over 12 o'clock. Normally do these about 11, but we're doing it at 12 today. I am going to get to it, don't worry. I'm just seeing how everyone's doing. It's been a minute. Is everyone all right? Is everyone, like I said, did you have a good weekend? There was no football on to ruin it for us this weekend, was there? So, unless you're Ukrainian, commiserations. If you're Welsh, congratulations. Debating supporting Wales at the World Cup. Dylan Levitt Ultras and all that lot. Can't really get behind England. It just doesn't sit right with me. So I'm looking for a team to support. The two teams I'm thinking is either Ghana, because their kit's fucking outrageous, or potentially Wales for Dylan Levitt. So, don't know which way round to go. So Messi scored 5 goals at the weekend. Wow, who was he playing? Estonia. Okay. Who plays for Estonia then? So there's a kid at Tottenham who's never played for Tottenham, starts for Estonia. And there's another kid who plays in defence for Estonia who's never left Estonia. And there's someone else who's a fucking part-time player in Estonia, and that's who makes their back three up. Why do we persist with international football like it's real? There very much does need to be multiple tiered sorts of stages of international football in it. Like, look, everybody gets the right to play. No one's saying you don't get the right to play, but how about you qualify for where you're going? I don't sit here and say Paddock FC should play Manchester City. How do we know they're the best team in Manchester, do I? No, because we'd get fucking mullered. Let's have it right. We know our place. And it's probably about fucking 5 steps above Estonia, I would think. Can't be wanking off all these players. The levels between the top of international football and the bottom of international football is absolutely outrageous at the moment. It's a waste of fucking time. We had Aaron Maguire sliding on his knees doing this. Yes, Harry. Because you scored against fucking Andorra or whoever it was. That was exactly what people were seeing their arse with you about. Laffer says that's what the Nations League is. Yes, that is what the Nations League is, but there's still these fucking mad games like this where you just go, what is the point? Qualifications. You know who's qualifying. There's probably like 1 or 2 teams per group where you go, oh, they might get in or they might not get in. But like Malta are not qualifying. It's a fucking beautiful island, but they're not very good at football. There's not enough of them. San Marino, beautiful part of the world. There's about fucking 24 eligible players that can play for them. They're not going at the World Cup. Give them a second tier. Give them like a Europa Conference of World Cups. Something like that. Some of that small teams can fucking get behind. It's a waste of everyone's fucking time. Absolute waste of everyone's fucking time. Ian says, no offence to Paddock, but you'd be mullered by Estonia or Andorra. Yeah, you probably fucking would. You probably would. But someone says, you forgot Iceland. Everyone gets to represent their country against everyone else's. Iceland got to a finals. I don't have an issue with it at finals. If you qualified for a finals, you're fine. And that's why usually you see pretty good games. You don't see like 9-0s and stuff in finals, do you? That's the difference. You see teams running through their groups going 10-0 in qualification. What the fuck's all that about? What is the point? What is the point? So there should be a second tier of qualification. I get that's what the Nations League is trying to address, but it's also just sort of rebranding of friendlies in a way, really, isn't it? I would like there to be, if I supported a fucking, like, I don't really support any international team. I don't really have any sort of affinity with England. I was born here, and that's it, really. If I was supporting a small team, and it was a 2 or 3 tier sort of international system, and you had like, the Champions League might be your Euros and your World Cup type stuff, but if you had like a Europa League, how fucking cool would that be for your middle of the road nations? Yeah. Just fucking wank. And someone did a study. So 21st Club is like a football data company, and they did a study into, I believe it was San Marino, and they said their technology only goes down to level 8, right? So level 8 is where their technology goes down to, and they said San Marino are further away from level 8 than level 8 is from the Premier League. So that puts San Marino technically level 16 of English football. We're level 12 or 13 currently, my lot. So based on their rankings, we would be a competitive game for San Marino. We should not be in the same cup competitions as fucking Champions League players. You just shouldn't. It's absolutely fucking ludicrous. And we're not in England, obviously. But international football lets you have this thing. It's fucking ludicrous. You shouldn't be allowed to fucking play at that level. It's just nonsense, isn't it? The FA Cup, it's tiered at what levels you get to go into the FA Cup. If you're a top Premier League team, you get to go in at round 3. There's been like 1,000 teams eliminated from it by the time it gets to level 3. To round 3, sorry. And some will sneak through based on performance to play some of those big teams, and it's fantastic when they do. But there would be no point just putting the entire fucking FA Cup draw in at like pre-qualifying stage 1 and be like, right then, Manchester United are playing with inshore amateurs. What's the point? But you get this in World Cup qualification. You literally get those sorts of disparities. It's fucking nonsense. For those in the comments, someone's just asked, what's the status of Paddock FC shares? It is not shares. It's done totally different to shares. All the information will be out on Wednesday. We did a soft launch last week with some people on Patreon. I think it went quite well. All the information will be out on Wednesday at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning. You'll be able to get involved and get your membership. And if you get in early enough, hopefully get a nice low down number, all being well. There's some people got a little bit giddy about which numbers they're able to get and this, that, and the other. Notch says San Marino's players play at a higher level for clubs. They'll be fitter and more improved, but that's the only real difference. Some do, yeah. I mean, I don't actually know what the levels of some of the lower league of Italian football is, but I think there's quite a steep drop-off. I don't think it's as stacked competitively as the English football pyramid. Happy to be proved wrong on that. But from what I've read up on, I think that's the move for it. Darwin says that's how Asia handles their World Cup qualifications, staggered entrance based on rankings. That makes sense, doesn't it? Hangry says, when do we get to know our numbers? Your number will be on your certificate and also in the app once the app goes live as well. Simon says, could Paddock beat San Marino? Here's the thing, right? We played a team from Step 8. I'm not going to give you any opinion, and I'm going to make you guys let the decision be made from you guys. So we played a team from level 8, Ramsbottom. We lost to them 2-0. Ramsbottom are as far away from us in the league as they are from Sunderland. That's the gap between us and them and Sunderland. So they sit right in between, essentially, Paddock and Sunderland in terms of the football pyramid. They beat us 2-0. One of the goals our keeper threw in his net. We probably could have scored, but the last 5 or 10 minutes, we were fortunate to not concede more goals. It was a competitive game for 80 minutes, and then their fitness shone, and we did well to not concede more. But it was 2-0. But it was a very even game for 80 minutes. So, step 8, level 8 even. Level 8 where Ramsbottom are, supposedly, according to the data from 21st Club, San Marino are as far away from them as they are from the Premier League down. So, I think it would be competitive. I think it'd be more competitive than people realise, because everyone thinks international football is the pinnacle of football. I don't think it is. I think club football's overtaken it. When is the app due to launch? The app might be a little bit longer. It has to go for approvals at iOS and stuff like that. Marvel says, De Jong clearly don't want to come to United. Why are we forcing him? Stoic Savage says, goes to fight in a war for England. I didn't fight in a war for England. One, the United Kingdom is the country that you represent. England is a state within the United Kingdom. But yeah, I don't... Look, I can only be honest with you. Having a job is different to natural affinity to a football team. And if you can't understand that, I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't mind watching the England rugby team. But when I look at England, it's the fans, if anything. I've been to England games. I've been to England games recently. I went to England games in Euro 96. I went to England games. I've been to England games at the new Wembley. I feel like an outsider. That's just my own personal opinion on it. You might like England. Fine. I wouldn't judge you for it. You know, we have people that are watching the channel that either aren't English or don't support England. That's fine. You got to be true to who you are. And the truth is, I go to those England games, right? Went to England, Scotland on Remembrance Day, right? Of all the days, as an ex-soldier, you think this would be a time to get some sort of emotional connection to England. And I'm looking at the Scottish in kilts and all with the Highland hats on and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, I don't feel connection to these guys. And I'm looking at all the English, and I'm going, I don't really feel a connection to these guys either. And I'm thinking, I've just done that the wrong way. There we go. That's where I want it to be. I'm watching some fucking guy in a button-down shirt and specs fucking giving it that one to the old Scottish crowd, just like 10 foot from me. Me and Mac just sitting there like, I've just found myself in an alien planet here. I just don't feel any kind of connection to them whatsoever. Ukhtar says, so I was basically Luke Shaw of the UK Army. Not at all. I was good at my job, and I liked my job. Me not liking the England football team has got fuck all to do with any of that. It's just one of them, innit? And that goes back to, for me, it goes back to 1998 and the treatment David Beckham got. I'm a United fan first. I liked England up until that point, and I saw the reaction. Am I sure I'm not Irish? There's Irish on my granddad's side. My granddad had a fucking house in Ireland. He's got an Irish passport. He's not Irish though. He's born in Hardwick, Ancoats. He's got an Irish passport, but he's not Irish. He's English. But yeah, it just, until 1998, didn't really give a fuck for it. And then through that period of United being hyper successful with 7 or 8 English players in the team, the way very much the London sort of media and fan base was with England, just it didn't fit with me. United over England is a thing very common with a lot of United fans. Yeah. Ed T there says, every Northerner I know doesn't mess with England team barring their own club's players. I'm not on my own here, but it's a genuine sort of thing. Genuine sort of thing. I mean, my dad was 6 in 66. He watched the World Cup. It was one of the first things he watched in his house. And he obviously was into it at 6. But he says the same thing. 98 and what happened with the fallout of David Beckham just turned him off. And it happens. Connor says, what's wrong with being Irish? More loved than most. I didn't say there was anything wrong with being Irish. I just said my granddad isn't Irish. He's got an Irish passport, but he's not Irish. It's just a fact. I think his mum is. If anyone cares, from a place called Nina in Tipperary. I've never been. I've been to Dublin, never been to Nina. Fergal's with a super chat there, says, do I think Ten Hag could play free to back like Holland with De Jong in the middle of a 5, with Bruno and Van der Beek, with Maguire, Varane and Timber behind? I think it's plausible. I don't think he would, to be honest. I think he's going to go with what we've seen. What do we think of United signing Eriksen? All right, let's get into what we're going to be talking about then. So, Frenkie de Jong. There's several places, Diario AS and some other places that I'm struggling to pronounce, say that United are willing to make, this is where the title comes from, an irrefutable offer for Frenkie de Jong. Mundo Deportivo, Sports Witness, saying United are pressing to sign Frenkie de Jong and are very close to reaching an agreement with Barcelona. Ten Hag is convinced of being able to convince de Jong to join. And from Sport, also in Spain, saying that United are hoping to convince Frenkie de Jong to join next week. Supposedly, he's also been, this is according to Miguel Sanz in Sport, he's been approached by PSG, Bayern and Manchester City, but only United are willing to reach the figure that Barcelona are looking for. Talks of a fee of 80 million euros being discussed. It also says, like, following the last contacts United had with Frenkie de Jong's entourage, United directors now get the impression that he is more open to join the club. He is listening to Ten Hag and has serious hope of convincing him. Apparently, he accepts that it's unlikely he's going to have a future at Barcelona, and United have concentrated all their efforts on getting him in the next few days, and they believe the deal has started to move a little bit closer. For me, on the football side of things, he's a sensational player. But having to convince a player to join us doesn't sit right with me. Manchester United should be enough. And if it's not enough, okay, handshake, see you in the next one. There's always going to be other players. He isn't the only player in the world that can perform what he wants to do. Maybe in Ten Hag's mind, he's exactly what this team needs. And obviously he's the man to have that sort of decision. It doesn't sit right with me about a player not wanting to go, because if it doesn't go to plan immediately, how committed is he going to be to sticking around and putting a shift in when it starts going west? I don't know the personality of Frenkie enough to be able to say whether or not he would be a success here, or whether or not he's the sort of person that as soon as it gets a little bit on top, he's like, yeah, fuck this, get me out of here. That's what I'm unsure on. Fergal's dropped in another super chat there. He says, love to see you do a video on the players United have signed post-Fergie that I think Fergie himself would have signed. What percentage would it be? That's going to be a tough one to do because it's purely conjecture. And also, Fergie did sign a fair bit of lemons, but he also made some of those lemons really work. Hostad says, didn't I say United should be the destination and not the journey? Something of that nature. Yeah, United should be seen. I think players should see United as the opportunity, but they should also see us as the opportunity to win trophies, and not, they shouldn't get to United and go, done it. They should get to United and go, right, I need to start winning here. And I think there's a lot of players lately treat United like it's just getting here was enough, rather than getting here and then being given the opportunity to win stuff. And also, you want Manchester United, yes, you want United to be seen as the destination in the sense of this is where they want to finish. They don't want to come to United and go, I want to come here so I can get the move to Real Madrid. That's not what you want United to be seen as. You want people to be coming here because this is where they want to spend the rest of their career, especially if they're being able to win stuff. John Fanai says De Jong will not be Di Maria. Who said that? Stelios says United need an all-action midfielder that's tenacious but also class on the ball unless we're going to sign 2 midfielders, which is not going to happen. I think Frenkie's a lot more tenacious on the ball than people give him credit for, you know. I think he's got more to his game. I think people think he's a little bit of a playmaker and that's it, a little bit soft. I don't see that as the case. Jordy says, as a Dutchie, I know for certain that De Jong would like to play at United and Ten Hag knows how to use him to his strengths. Can only judge De Jong if he bent on his belief if he speaks out on them in public. That's a good point. At the moment, this is all paper talk, isn't it? In terms of, you know, does he want to come? Does he not want to come? But ultimately, it could also be a tactic. You know, it might be a tactic from his agency to say, listen, you don't want to jump at them. If United are interested, they're going to pay you a good wage. But if you go, look, I'm not interested, they might try and convince you about coming with a bit more of an important salary. So it could be tactics from everybody. And he might get here and go, do you know what? I never said I didn't want to come here. The paper said that. And this is where I wanted to play football my entire life. And you go, oh shit, okay, fair enough. Just saying says a lot of optimistic speculation in the chat about Frenkie's attitude. Like I said, something I don't know enough of. Would have to observe it up close, and I'd love to be given the opportunity to observe it up close and find out what he's all about. Stelios said Frenkie himself said he prefers to play in a pivot and not as a solo 6 or an out-and-out 8. He sees himself as a Busquets character type, which is great, but it means he needs a pivot partner. Yeah, again, that's why, for me, I would go with him and Kante. Yes, you're not going to have Kante around for a long time, but he would definitely help you bridge the gap because you're not getting all the players that you need in one window and you're not getting them all right either. And you've got someone who knows the league, you know his attitude is flawless, and he'll come in and make a massive impact. Daniel Kirk says, see your point, but I'd be concerned if we did not convince him. I mean, we're shite. Does it not show ambition? We are shite, but it depends on his relationship with Ten Hag, doesn't it, in a massive, massive way. Notch says, I've been concerned about players we're linked with not jumping at the chance to join us, so hope it is tactics of sort. As anything that you hear leaks of in the press, there's probably an element of truth to, but you don't know the sort of motives behind why that is the truth, or why it's, you know, the only things you can be convinced are absolute bollocks is if it's in the Sun and it says Neymar's coming. Then you go, yeah, no, he's not. Everything else, there's probably an element of truth to it. And that's the problem in the transfer window of going, that's 100% bollocks. Probably isn't the case. United have probably scouted every fucking player that kicks a ball in Europe. So to say, United aren't looking at him, he might be on a list, but he might be the 400th person on that list. That's the problem is, like, you know, there's so many levels to bringing players in that. One thing I am happy about is it doesn't look like there's a lot of leaks kicking around at the moment. I am delighted with that. Super chat here from J.E. Fruscione says, I'm not keen on signing De Jong, especially for this kind of cash. If he's got to be persuaded, who does he think he is? His team is kicking him to the curb. Seems he needs a reality check. The other thing might be that United are playing on that angle of it. They don't want you. And we might be trying to say to Barcelona, all right, well, if you don't want him, how's about we do it at 50 million? There's all of these games being played. Agents are playing games. Players are playing games. The selling clubs playing games. The buying clubs playing games. Newspapers are playing games. So it's tough to get a read on what we actually think is really, really going on. Stelios says there was a Neymar and a Salah story during one of the Ole summer windows. I think I called the Salah one bullshit at the time. But that's not no crystal ball. That's just it's not fucking happening, is it? Let's be real. Hostad says Barcelona have been in the mud recently, and he hasn't complained from what I know. If it was Pogba, it would have been a circus. Seems like a level-headed guy from the outside. When someone's willing to work with someone as strongly as it seems Ten Hag is with a player that he used to have, for me that says this player does have a good attitude. It's the only indication that we've got, because I don't think Ten Hag would come into a team that he knows has got shitty attitudes and add another shitty attitude. If he's gone, he's the kind of fella to fix me, then he's the kind of fella that we want to be bringing in, as far as I'm concerned. There was a tweet earlier from Andy Mitten, which I'm just going to try and pull up. I'm not sure if it came from a tweet, actually. It says, like, United are admiring players like Timber and Nunes, but much of the talk is being driven by agents at present. And maybe that's why it seems like the leaks are coming from those sides. It doesn't feel yet like there's any leaks whatsoever coming from Manchester or from people within Manchester or agents in and around the deal at the moment. So that's a very positive thing for me. Whoever it was, whether it was Judge, whether it was Woodward, whether it was Marcel Boo or Jim Lawler, whoever it was in that chain of command that was letting things out, it's frustrating because I'd love to know what's going on, but I'm kind of glad that it isn't going on, because I think it was a fucking circus previously. Right then, next one that we're going to be talking about, kind of controversially, I think, Christian Eriksen. What's happening with him then? It does seem like there's something in the works. Sam Mullock in the Mirror said that United have joined the race to sign Christian Eriksen, and Ten Hag's looking to make his budget stretch as far as possible, and Eriksen has now emerged as an option. And he said he got a close-up view of his bid to rescue his career when he allowed him to train with his Ajax squad and to build his fitness up before he joined Brentford, and he was hugely impressed by his desire. Again, personal relationship, even if it's not a super strong one. Seen him up close on the training pitch. A couple of weeks ago, I said I didn't want to touch Eriksen. Very worried about what goes on with a player playing at the highest level with a pacemaker. I guess he's been cleared by doctors. Clearly not a heart surgeon. Don't know if you knew that. Just thought I'd clarify that for those who are sitting there wondering. But it doesn't sit right with me. And again, I can't explain it. It's just my feeling. And I think I wouldn't want anything tragic to happen with him. I think he probably should have retired, but he's not. And he put in some sensational performances for Brentford this season. If he could come in and be the guy that gives Bruno a night off and play a dozen games a year, I think that would be a really astute bit of business from United. Good character, someone, again, the manager's got a bit of a knowledge and a relationship with, and a player that's got undoubted class. Maybe he realises he's probably not going to be a superstar at any sort of team at the moment, but I think having him as an option, particularly if Bruno's having a rough game, you can give him the hook and throw Eriksen on for the last 30. Especially if you're getting him on a free transfer. I think that would be a real astute bit of business. I would really like that in that sense. The heart issue thing's a little bit of a different sense, but I'm willing to just see how it goes. My gut feeling is I don't really like it, and I worry about it. But like I said, I'm not a fucking cardiologist. James Wood says, glad to see United aren't leaking stories. Like I said with Joe News the other day, if you get these sort of stories as a deal gets closer, fingers crossed it's done soon. Yeah. Ajax school too. Yes, technical footballer. I mean, great technical footballer. I can't imagine his wages would be mental. Stone420 says, chicken tikka and naan tonight, Howson. Enjoy. I don't know what I'm on. I had meatballs and spaghetti yesterday. Homemade meatballs. They were absolutely phenomenal. The missus did a good job. Elan says, De Jong objectively seems like a good professional from what's public knowledge. United team need more of that in the dressing room. I completely agree. Patrick Viong says, would he be a backup for Bruno? In my opinion, I think he would, yeah. I mean, Notch just said that I don't get the idea of Eriksen who'd be one of our top 3 players playing only a bit part. We need to improve the team. I think he would play the same role in the 11 as Bruno does, which would mean I don't think he starts as consistently. It might mean that you can get better out of both by doing it. He might play as an 8. I might be wrong here, and you might do it a bit like City did a few years ago, where you have De Bruyne and Silva, where they're two creative midfielders doing bits. But I think we're a little bit away off that. I think we need to sort of strengthen a little bit before we can deal with being a bit all-out attacking. Tom says, did Fergie and Busby have much of a relationship? I also hope Fergie gets to see us win a league before he dies like Busby did. Jesus fucking Christ, mate. Is anything wrong with Fergie at the moment? It looks all right. I don't know what the relationship between Fergie and Busby was. And I know there was a photo shoot they did after we won the greatest achievement in football of the Cup Winners' Cup in 91. And Sir Matt and Sir Alex are both there holding their European trophies. Sir Matt had an office in Old Trafford still, which is... people talk about the looming shadow of Sir Matt Busby and the looming shadow of Sir Alex. I don't think Sir Alex is a looming shadow. I think he's offered help as a mentor. He obviously goes to the games. And what we're going to do? Stop him going to the games? That's fucking ludicrous. You can't stop him going to the games. But he doesn't have an office there. And he doesn't have an office at Carrington anymore. He moved out and he just works from home. Any work that he has to do. And I say work, it's, let's be honest, he does a few appearances now and then. He probably has a secretary still, because I'm sure he gets a fucking right load of correspondence every single day. I bet it's a sack full. But I think in terms of his work, it's probably quite relaxed now. So Matt kept his office at Old Trafford. And this was when the manager had an office at Old Trafford. Well, so Matt never left his office. It was still there. That's a bit different. And I think it's how you deal with it. I mean, my old man, I believe, I would say early 90s, but I don't know the year. It could have been late 80s. It could have been early 90s. I'm not 100% sure. It was only a couple of years before he passed, so maybe it was 91, 92 sort of time. My dad's a lift engineer, and he was doing the lifts inside Old Trafford. And he saw Matt Busby there one day, just walking on his own from the car park. And he just said, do you mind giving us a hand? And he walked with him for a few hundred metres until he went into his office and had a bit of a chat with him. What a fucking treat that is. What an absolute treat. Especially, my dad would have been in his 30s. A bit younger than I am now, but it'd be like me fucking walking Fergie around the ground now if I was doing some work at the ground. It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? But yeah. I need to read this comment out here. Brannigan Digital Marketing. Fuck me. I hope that's not your real company. Bruno, not good enough in possession football. How'd you work this out? Listen, mate, not everyone in possession-based football has a 95% completion rate. Would you argue Liverpool have possession-based football? I'm sure you would, right? Yeah, okay. Trent Alexander-Arnold's the second most creative player behind Bruno in the English Premier League. And he is the person that loses nearly all of their possessions at right back. Kevin De Bruyne, one of the most possession-losing players in the Manchester City team. The most possession-losing player in the City team. The most creative player in the City team. If you're losing possession inside your own half, that's one thing. Losing it, creating a chance, it is not a massive drama. It's not the drama everyone's sort of... I don't know where the fuck this narrative is coming from. No. I'm not having that in a way, to be honest with you. Sam Milton says, with a proper CDM, Pereira may be a better option off the bench than McTominay. Don't watch them pre-season games. You'll fucking mess your mind up, mate. Notch says, Messi has try things-based football, not possession-based football. Yeah, there was at one point, it was... I can't remember who the third person was, but it was Kevin De Bruyne, Messi, and I can't remember who it was. Might have been Muller. I really can't remember who it was. Were like the most possession losing players in world football. But they were like the three most creative players. Sanchez. It was Sanchez. It was Alexis Sanchez. When he was at Arsenal and when he was good before we signed him. They were the three most possession losing players in football and the three most creative players in world football. Fuck me. The last one then, what we're going to talk about is Nemanja Matic. What's going on with Nemanja Matic? Well, he's gone. He's gone Roma. To absolutely nobody's shock whatsoever. Jose gave him the old, what you doing next year? And he went, don't know, what you doing next year? And he was like, come to Roma. And I guess he went, okay. So there, no shocks there whatsoever. Loads of players are going to be moving off and moving on. And I'm sure there's probably even more of that to come. I saw a couple of messages about what's going on with our app. If you want to get involved in the fan ownership with Stretford Paddock, Wednesday, 10 o'clock. The app is probably going to be a week or so delayed behind that. But 10 o'clock on Wednesday, it'll be going live to the public. If you would like to become a member, all of the information that you need and everything else is going to be out there. It is available worldwide. I can't believe how many times I have to reiterate this. One of the reasons that we're doing all of our voting through the app is because then it is available worldwide. It's going to be an Android app and it's going to be an iOS app. And I believe there's probably going to be a way for us to collect votes through the website for those. Like, for example, my granddad doesn't have a smartphone. It barely has WhatsApp. So for those kind of people, we're going to be putting an option maybe on the website for people to vote as well. The reason we're doing this, there are several fan-owned clubs out there. A lot of the ways that voting is done in these is that you have to attend the AGM and you have to do a physical ballot where you write something down and stick it in a box. In 2022, I don't think that's the correct way to do things. We have a user ID, we have a login, and then we'll have it. What's the app called? It will be called Stretford Paddock FC. That's what I'm hoping to sort of put out there. We're hoping to get our members to be voting on stuff very soon. In fact, I can tell you one of the things that we're probably going to put to vote, maybe by the end of next week, is whether we should have a concessions rate. And I left that deliberately to the end of next week to say, right, let's start making changes. You guys are going to literally run this football club. We're going to be putting things to you guys to make decisions. And we'll move on it like that. Abdullah says possession stats can be misleading because a perfect pass miscontrolled by the receiver also counts as the passer losing possession. It depends on how it goes down because Maguire's pass to Hannibal went down as a completed pass for him. But then we lost possession straight away because it was a shit pass. Mushfiq says, can you give me an email where I can inquire about fan ownership? You don't need an email. All you need to do is wait for the information at 10 a.m. UK time on Wednesday morning and you'll get all the information you need. There's nothing that you need to know that's not going to be on that list. Is it possible to get ownership for US fans already? Wednesday, it will go live and it will be worldwide. The only thing I will say on here, and I'll reiterate this on Wednesday as well, is for those that live in Ireland, Brexit is absolutely shagged us. So anything that we post out, you will have the option to do so, but I would suggest getting it tracked because we will be sending you a PIN badge and a certificate. And if you want to actually receive those, I think getting it tracked is going to be the way to do. So we're going to cover the cost of postage for everybody in the UK and everybody worldwide who wants it, just free postage. But if you want to get it tracked, it'll be tracked and signed. I think it's $8.99 to do that for wherever, but we're going to do it everywhere else. Shay says, when, if ever, do I think the financial bubble in football will burst and what effect will it have on the fans? I think it will burst because I think I don't understand how much money the TV rights and the TV companies make for it at the moment, but I can't see that continuing to rise exponentially. I probably wouldn't have said it would have got to the point it's got to now, and I don't think anyone anticipated it getting to the point that it's at now at all, which means that I think you're entering this weird, unstable position. If the whole world ends up in a recession, I don't understand how football wages, because football wages only go up, right? I don't understand how they can go up continually. I don't understand how transfers can go up continually, and then how you continually get more money from TV revenue every single year. It never flatlines, it just continues to rise. So with that being the case, what I envisage happening is clubs will increasingly use their ownership, their academies, and ownerships won't be putting in the sort of funds that they have, or it will just become, the PSG versus Abu Dhabi, versus Russian oligarchs leagues, and everybody else will just have to cut their cloth accordingly. Nim says the football market is insular. I agree to a certain extent, but I also think that with the recessions going on across the world, there is a possibility that someone just goes, I'm not paying that. All it takes is a couple of main broadcasters to go bump, and that's happened in the past. The TV companies that actually broadcast those things could go tits up. One or two of those go, and you're in the shit, because then it's going to be a bit of a race to the bottom. And instead of it being 5 billion, whatever it is for TV rights, someone might go, I'll give you 200 million. And if there's no over offers on the table, then you're only going to get 200 million for it. Now, I'm not sure that's the case. Mushfiq says, will fan owners from Bangladesh also get the goodies? Worldwide. If you live on this planet and you would like to become a member, you can become a member. If you want your certificate and stuff tracking because you live in somewhere a bit fucking mental, get it tracked. Otherwise, we'll put it out as international standard shipping and hope for the best. But we have had shirts go missing. If you live in like Australia, Alaska, South Africa, or weirdly Ireland, those places have had things go missing. America seems pretty spot on. Norway seems pretty spot on. So it's one of those. The Lumberjack says France and Turkey are having big problems with TV money. Yeah, it probably won't happen with the Premier League immediately, but I think some of the other ones will probably taper off first, and then it might start to hit the likes of the Premier League. But it could definitely happen. Perm China says, is it worldwide? Fuck off. I know you're winding me up now. Hostad says, will I still have access to it when Elon shoots me off to Mars? I saw that. We'll talk about that on another day. Thomas says, I'm a member in Northern Ireland. How do I arrange to get it tracked? If you're already one of the people that we've done a soft launch with, we will email you guys out something different with the options. We're doing all of the tracking options today. But what we'll probably do is we'll just send yours out standard, hope for the best, and if it goes tits up, we'll just have to swallow the cost on sending a second one out. What if you're on the International Space Station? Well, you can fucking come and collect it when you get home, can't you? And you're doing your media tour. How about that? Frank says, where do we get involved in the fan ownership? On Wednesday, there will be social posts. There will be a video at 10 a.m. from us as well, talking about the fan ownership. And you will get all the information that you need to know 10 a.m. on Wednesday. That's the one. Jamil says, recap on the De Jong story. So quickly for everybody that's just joined, United believe they're making an offer that won't get refused to De Jong. We think we can do the deal with Barcelona. There seems to be only United willing to put the sort of money Barcelona want into the transfer. And then it's just a case of whether we can convince Frenkie de Jong to come. My own gut feeling on it is there might be some sort of agents at play here. Don't seem too keen. We will only find out when we find out, but we will see. James O'Brien says, are we too big to ever go proper broke? Can't imagine with the amount we bring in and how tight our owners are that we won't be a big club. I couldn't possibly comment on that because we saw Leeds United go tits up. If you can't pay your bills, you're going tits up. So it can happen. Benji says, what league are Paddock in? We've just been accepted into a Step 7 league. The top division is Step 7. We are probably going into Division 2, I think. I don't know any more than that at the moment. But if we go into Division 2, that means that we are 3 promotions away from being in the FA Cup. It gets real from now. This is the last time that we have to do a proper application. Every other step from here now is just promotion on merit. So in theory, and for anyone who thinks this is what I'm saying is a target, in theory we are 13 promotions away from 12 promotions away from the Premier League or something. So that's that. Now that won't happen, and it's not even a target. We just want to be an established non-league club with a great junior system. Membership will be £50 a year, or it'll be £5 per month if you do it through the app. The pay monthly option will only be available through the app. If you do it through the website, it just gives you the one option to pay in a wanna. So if you want to do it, make it a bit more affordable and do it monthly, you'll have to wait until the app comes out, but that'll be soon. Benji says, guessing once you're in the FA Cup, you'll get a manager. No, I wanna manage an FA Cup. That's my little goal. Once I've done that, I'll fucking drift off into the sunset and call it a day. Jason says, I'm from South Africa and airmail goes missing here. Yep, there's a few shirts we've sent out there multiple times. Frank Underwood says, friendly with hashtag would be cool. The 2 YouTube teams. It would be cool, wouldn't it? Stay tuned for that. We have got a date penciled in. We just got to make sure we can get there. But we have got a date penciled in for that. Announcements when we can announce them. So yeah, that's it. Any questions that you've got on anything like that, Twitter's up or Instagram us, or there's email addresses on my socials. If you want any more questions or anything like that, get involved on there. Otherwise, Wednesday, me and Ronaldo will be talking about everything that you're going to need to know, the whole ins and outs of how the whole fan ownership thing's going to work, how you can get involved, and how you can even get on the board of it as well. So that's what we're saying. So cheers for tuning in. As always, cheers for your support. Mushfik says, what are the realistic chances of getting to the FA Cup? I'm going to do it. Watch me. I'm going to do it. Right. Cheers for tuning in, and I'll catch you in a bit. Laters.